Maverick 100.9 Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, and very excited to be joined by Kyle Nix of Kyle Nix and the 38s today, or you may know him as the very entertaining, probably the most entertaining fiddle player I've ever seen with the Turnpike Troubadours.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, of course. I love watching you live, and you've always brought an energy. The thing that people do not get to see off stage like I get to see is your energy. Just having a conversation with you matches the fiddle player in you for sure.
Well, I love meeting people and talking to people when I'm out. That's exciting to me. Oh, and like when all the COVID stuff was going on and we couldn't go out and play, I missed that almost more than playing music, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I do get animated meeting folks and running into old friends and things like that on the road.
It's so cool. But boy, we got to talk about your workload, because even with the shutdown and COVID, you didn't stop nothing. Or even with the break with the band, you didn't stop nothing. You released this incredible album in 2021. Is that when the last one came out?
It was 2020. It was right in the thick of the pandemic stuff. So I unfortunately didn't get to really tour on it, but I had to put it out. I couldn't hold
We
it.
all had it. And you have no idea how many people I spoke to where that was their healing grace, was that album.
Well,
It
that's really nice.
really made an impact on people, Kyle, myself included. Like I'm just a fan here, you know.
Well, thank you. That means something, you know.
Yeah, well, you seem to just put your whole self into anything you've ever done, and it's great that we get to carry you with us like that, and to get to know you a little bit more individually as a artist instead of as a group. This is where the music nerd in me really shines, because you're cool as hell, simply put. And
People that went to high school with me would beg to differ, but
no, with the people that went to high school with me,
I'm just kidding.
they can eat it. Those poor people still got to hear my loud voice everywhere they turn, and it helps me sleep at night, to be honest.
Yeah, so you got them.
The best revenge, kill them with kindness. You're releasing this incredible single, Close the Bets, which I already love because I am a gambler, honey. So tell me a little bit about the new single.
Well, a lot of this stuff on the album is about going through problems in a relationship and your life, and trying to find solutions to fix the things that you're going through. And this one particularly, the subject of the story is he's finally decided that he's going to leave his relationship, a toxic relationship. And I purposely wanted it to be a barn burner. So you get that a little bit of that spite and that fire. Like, I'm finally going to do this. I'm tired of it being the way it's going. Nothing's ever going to change. It's almost like the guy's firing himself up to get out of the situation. And he's going through, and he's picking out little things he doesn't like about her in the song, a little, here and there. And I generally like, if I write spiteful, I want the music to fit that. And I don't always write spiteful. This was definitely an outlet for me.
Yeah.
I have some of these songs on the record that's coming out because it was therapy. You had to like get all those feelings out. I was going through it, so I figured, what the heck, be honest about your situation. The last album was written more like I was a narrator. I was trying to put myself in other people's shoes. Now, Manifesto, that was different. That was a personal song, the first song on Lightning on the Mountain, another short story. But everything else, I just tried to learn how to be a good writer in the process of writing that album. But this next album called After the Flood Volume 1, very very personal stuff through the whole album. And then we'll have a volume 2 as well, and it's stuff full of all the same type of stuff. So
was that hard to do? Because the story that you just described, I have lived. And the situation was divorce. Do I divorce him or do I not? But the more I thought and came to the realization that I was not being treated well, but I was the one that was going to have to make the call and be the bad guy at the end. Like, it is spiteful and it's hurtful, and you are mad and you are mean. So you're telling my story basically, but is it hard for you to actually get these recorded and perform them?
Well, the writing process wasn't hard. The writing itself, it just came out. I had to write these songs. It was very personal. You know, I just had to do it. Like, I felt if I didn't, it would kind of bottle up and cause some more problems. So, I mean, the music part was an outlet. Now, recording, that was a different story. Everything else was pretty easy until I got to this song, Summer Plains, that I'd written for my soon-to-be ex-wife. And that one was really hard. I didn't make it through the last chorus a few times. I think we ended up having to do like 6 takes because my voice was cracking. Like, it was like, I guess the mental part was the song's almost over. Yeah. You know, in my head, it's kind of a metaphor for like what I was going through, and like the song's almost done. So I was thinking that every time I tried to sing the last chorus, but I finally got through it. But that was the first time I've ever broken down in the studio. It was just such a surreal, strange feeling. And then just I tried to act like I was coughing, so they didn't know I was, having trouble with it. But
oh, I get it though. I do, because we'll talk about being the bad guy in a situation. Like, you go through a lot to get to the end, and still people look at you like you're a bad guy, but they have no idea the mental toll that it takes to do that, to make that decision to get there and then let it go. And, writing music is obviously therapeutic. I'm sure you're on the journey, like, as we're speaking.
Yeah. Like, absolutely.
I tell people who are not songwriters, because I'm not a songwriter. I do find music very healing. That's why it's such a big part of my life. But what do we do if we're not a songwriter? You still have to write it down. This is my own personal advice going out to anyone today. What I do is I write letters to people. I don't send them. I've written job resignations that I never resigned from. I have written every type of letter, and I hope people know that they can still find that outlet when going through something. It's just, you may not get a song out of it, but you will get so much peace in your body, in your brain, in your heart. It's very peaceful.
Yeah, it's a release. It's an emotional release. Sometimes, that's why people go to therapists, so they can talk about this stuff and get it out. And at least, if solutions aren't come up with, you at least got some things off your chest.
Yeah.
Or talking to your friends or anything like that. You feel better. Yeah.
There's a lot of situations that don't have resolutions at the end. You still got to get that out of your body or it is going to crumble,
Yeah. It's not good to store that stuff up. That stuff causes cancer and heart disease and all that.
We're trying to live forever, all right? No bad juju. Well, we will be back with Kyle Nix here, but I have got to debut some brand new music to you on Maverick 100.9. This one's called Close the Bet. Kyle Nix in the 38s. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this single for you in podcast form, but you can now find it anywhere that you stream and download music. And today's interview continues now. Maverick 100.9, you just heard the latest from Kyle Nix and the 38s on Maverick. Kyle Nix, of course, is a legend to all of us with his work with the Turnpike Troubadours, but you're kind of breaking down barriers and walls with your own music. And That's been an extraordinary thing to watch. Now, I have to know, what does the 38s mean? What is the 38? What a
Well,
weird number.
there's a few reasons it worked out the way it did, that we settled on that name. I knew that the band that I was building, as the pieces were coming along, that they were all going to be phenomenal musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I all consider them like weapons, like they can, like Haystack plays about 10 different instruments and plays them all well. I mean, and everybody has like something else they can do besides what they do. And they do it almost as well as what people consider their main, thing. So I was like, man, okay, so weapon, And then I was like, hey, I'm 38 years old at the time when I was putting together the band. So that was a funny little marker. And then I was like looking for other clues in the universe. And then I was like, okay, so Dale Earnhardt's number was 3 and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number was 8. And then I started writing all these things down as a joke. And then it ended up where I was just like, yeah, let's just do that.
I love it.
That makes more sense to me. Like, I don't know. There were a lot of signs pointing towards it. So
I love that. And I do want to talk more specifically about the 38s because, well, obviously I know you and I've seen you quite a few times. I've listened to the music, but I just met Bill Corbin, your bass player, in Steamboat, and immediately I was floored. So someone actually brought him to me. Somebody physically drug him over to me and said, Corliss, you're going to lose your mind. And I'm like, why? And he goes, so this man, Bill, was one of the founding members of American Aquarium. And already I'm saying a whole lot of cuss words that I can't say on the radio. I'm like, what? You're how? Like, I'm just screaming at this man. And he goes, oh, no. I'm not done. Guess who he plays with now? And I was like, who? He said, Kyle Nix. So I was like, dude, like I fangirled all over Bill. So shout out to Bill. I just adore him. So we already know his history in music and he's outrageous. So what about the other musicians in the band?
Oh man, I'm very fortunate to have this group as the 38s. It's pretty nuts. So my drummer is Gabe Pearson, who drums for the Turnpike Troubadours, and we're really close.
Oh, that? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So Gabe drums for us, and Adam Duran plays lead guitar. Adam Duran has played with a whole bunch of folks. Caitlin Butts. He's played with Jamie Wyatt. He's played with Kelsey Walden. He's recorded with so many people. He's one of the best guitar players I've ever heard, and he's in my band. And he's a great hang. So it's like I was going after him for a long time.
I love you fangirling over your own band like this rocks right
Hey
now.
man, I love him. That's why I went after him. I was like, I was not settling, and I knew they were the right people because of not only being fantastic musicians, but being great people. So I didn't want to settle at all. So we have Adam, and then of course Bill on bass, and then we have Kevin Haystack Foster, and he plays a lot of banjo with me, but he plays mandolin, he plays lead guitar, he plays lap steel guitar, he plays, I mean, everything. Like it's always good. So like in the studio, you can just be like, hey, do you want to play this? Or would you rather play that? Or we just have a lot of fun like picking instruments when we're going through the songs. And he played with the Damn Quails and Jason Eady, and he played with Sonny Sweeney for a while. So he has a lot of road experience. He's been through a lot of traveling bands, like working really hard. So then Ken Pomeroy is a singer-songwriter in Oklahoma, and she is super, super talented. She's 20 years old. And yeah. So I had a fiddle player for a while, and I knew that I was going to be getting rid of him, and I knew what I wanted to do with this band. And I was like, if we could get like a really good female vocalist, like an Emmylou Harris type, that can fall in with this stuff, but also sing her songs or sing on some of my songs, That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Graham Parsons, Emmylou Harris type thing with the band that's fire and all that. So
you even went into it knowing that you wanted a female in the band.
yeah, it was just a matter of time. I had to kind of figure it all out, like which how it's all going to work, because I did want to have a fiddle player, so I wasn't playing fiddle all the time.
Yes.
But then it came about like, man, I can cover this. I can cover fiddle. Like that's not a big deal. I'd rather have Ken in the band. So I called her dad up. He's a little closer to my age first, and I was like, what do you think?
Say, does she even know who you were?
Yeah, she actually sang on Lightning on the Mountain and Other Short Stories. She sang quite a bit of harmony. That's how I met her in the
Oh,
first place. So yeah, I mean, that's originally
too young for even Turnpike. That's
it was I don't know, man. That just seemed to really it all played out the way it should have played out. Even though I got rid of somebody, it was timing and getting all the right pieces together patiently, because people are doing other things sometimes. She was putting out albums, and she's about to put out another album too, so she's going to be busy as hell.
Ooh, make sure you hook me up with that interview sometime, because now I need to dig through her brain.
Yeah,
I'm going to super nerd mode at this point, but
it's I just wanted to say I love all them. Oh, I gotta put this out there. We've been playing with two drummers. Gabe's buddy Tugboat, Chris Killingsworth. They're so similar. They're like twin brothers. They play the same. They talk the same. They're interested in the same things. They're both drummers. So that we've been like splitting the drum kit, where one of them's facing this way and one of them's facing this way, but it's one drum kit, like put all together. And they play so similar that it just sounds like one giant drummer. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun for us.
You're gonna make me cry, because I'm really upset I haven't seen this live show yet. Like, I'm just so mad at the world right now.
Oh shoot. Well, hopefully you'll get
I just want to see you guys. I'm live music junkie, it's
yeah. Well, I want to get to College Station. We have I can't even remember the last time I was in College Station for like something besides a Troubadour show, so
none that I can remember. And I even remember my last Troubadour show. I specifically remember the shoes I was wearing, which is funny. I had rappelled down the Hilton that day, like jumped off of the building and rappelled down it. But I like to do everything with glitter. So I wore my red glitter shoes, and the Harvest Maroon Festival was afterwards, and I went straight there in my glitter shoes, but it had just rained and I got mud on my glitter shoes. And just so you know, glitter shoes do come clean with just water. But I was so worried, and I left them muddy after that, and it was this really weird symbolic thing, because you guys actually took your breaks shortly afterwards. So I would look at those muddy shoes and think of the Turnpike Troubadours. God, I am a nerd. What am I telling you right now?
Oh, you make those connections, man. There are connections in your life of certain times. Yeah. I totally get it. I do that around my house.
The shoes are clean now, and I am full on both a Turnpike and Kyle fan. So it all came round circle, and everybody is doing well and healthier in the end. And I'm very glad for that, because health is the first part of any situation.
Yeah.
As I'm learning in my 30s, wish I could have learned that lesson earlier in life.
Yeah. Yeah, get older and you start thinking about that stuff.
Yes, you do. Well,
some of us do.
I did want to touch just a teensy bit more on the album. First of all, because it's coming out so soon. The After the Flood Volume 1 is going to be released on July 28th. Now, I know you put all of this work into creating the perfect band, basically. And boy, did you do it or what? So you didn't use like studio musicians or anything on this project, right? Like it's the actual band.
Yeah, that was the whole point of having this band. I know what they're capable of, and just being in the studio with them, you gain even more knowledge about that, like how they can turn your idea into something so much bigger and maybe different than I thought. There was a song called Poor Boy's Heart on the album I saw completely differently than it turned out. It ended up sounding like an early Eagles song or something like that, with this band, which was like, that's awesome, because I could like, I never imagined writing a song like that sounded like an early Eagles song, you know.
But when
But
you think about it, like you fit perfectly with the Eagles as well. So like, why didn't you think of it sooner type deal? That's cool.
I don't know, but it was really cool to get in there with them and work through everything. And I can't remember the first part of the question. I got all
I
off
think
on.
that was it. I just pretty much wanted to know if the band actually it's you guys as a
Yeah.
whole on the album, and I think I had another follow-up question too.
The
Oh,
only the only other person on the album is Shooter Jennings. He reads the introduction, and I
that's
wrote and
cute.
yeah, I wrote out an introduction to kind of describe the things the character and on this album, me, was going through, and the
Right.
way you sort of have to look at life and falling in love and all those types of things.
Yeah,
So
because earlier you described it as a story. The whole album is a story, right?
pretty much just different pieces of things that have happened the last 4 years
Yeah.
in my life, and or maybe ideas that came through my brain while I was going through stuff. Some of some of it's exaggerated, so some of it kind of takes off into left field, but it was definitely driven by personal events for
Well, I
sure.
guess I also wanted to know, but I think you've already answered if any of these other great musicians get to write with you on any of this stuff, but it sounds like this is a pretty personal album.
Yeah, I wrote all these songs.
Mm-hmm.
We While we were getting ready for it, it was a little too quick for uh, since kind of the story and the feel was already there because these songs were finished.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we just didn't want to throw a wrench in it because we knew we were going to have another album with the same subject matter, and so we have songs. The others are going to write for sure, and
TBD kind of deal. Yes.
yeah, this one was just I wrote I wrote all these songs over like I said, the last 4 years, especially during the right at the height of the pandemic, because I just sat in a room going through all this emotional crap, and just letting my pen vomit all over the paper and grabbing a guitar and working out all these feelings and all those manly things.
Yes. Show those feelings, Kyle. Yes. Oh my gosh, you are just a hoot. You are wonderful. You are creative. You are everything that music needs. And I hope somebody tells you that at least daily.
You gotta stop flattering me.
I have to. I gotta get it out. You have to vomit with your pen. I give compliment vomits. So you're covered in it now.
Okay.
All right, y'all, just to wrap up here, because we went deep. We did all the things. We laughed, we cried. Kyle Nix and the 38's brand new album, After the Flood, Volume 1, out July 26th. New single, Close the Bets, streaming everywhere. Get it. And of course, throughout the year, follow for tour dates, because Kyle is pulling double duty. Kyle Nix, Turnpike Troubadours, go see one or both. I would like to see both, preferably Kyle, because that's the one I haven't seen yet. But did I cover it all? Was that all of it, Kyle?
It was quite a bit, but there's always more.
To be continued.
A lot to unpack about an album like this. It's there's a lot, but I'm glad we talked about it. It
Glad we
was
did too. And I think everybody that's listened for a little while here on Maverick, I think they really appreciate hearing your side and who you are. It's not very often we get to know someone that we've already loved for so long, but on a more personal level. And you've been giving your fans that now for 3-4 years. So I'm just gonna applaud you and say goodnight because I have no idea where to even end.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate this. This is fun.